Welcome back to another Michael Benitez video. I'm your host, Michael Benitez. Now today we're going to be talking about a sinking of a pretty famous ocean liner. I'm saying this because she was pretty famous in her own country, but she was pretty famous in other countries. However, she only got to serve for 3.5 years. What ship will be sinking we will be talking about today? Tonight we'll be talking about the sinking of the Italian liner, the Andrea Doria. Let's begin the story about this infamous Italian liner. July 17th, 1956. The Italian ocean liner Andrea Doria departs on her 51st westbound voyage, which will be a regular voyage of a routine nine-day trip from Italy to America to New York, with many Italian immigrants aboard. After stopping at Cannes, Naples, and Gibraltar, and finally heading out into the North Atlantic, Andrea Doria has 1,134 passengers aboard, along with 572 crew members, a total of 1,706 souls aboard. But this Italian ship was no ordinary ship. Built during the crisis of the Italian line after World War II, the Italian's Andrea Doria was the pride of the fleet and the flagship of the fleet as well. Her streamlined appearance, along with her luxurious interiors. The only ship matching her stature would be her twin and identical, a little bit bigger sister, the S.S. Cristoforo Colombo, which is not pretty much well known, unlike her older sister. Andrea Doria started its service in 1953, and Cristoforo Colombo started service in 1954. On the outside, Andrea Doria looks like a typical Italian liner, but she is very beautiful in her streamlined appearance. Her interiors were just as glorious as her entire body together. She had a first-class foyer, first-class bar, a first-class winter garden, many dining rooms, even on the promenade decks, and 3 majestic swimming pools. The Andrea Doria was the first ship ever to have 3 swimming pools, one for each class, first, cabin, and tourist class. Each class had their own social halls, dining rooms, lounges, and cabins. Trust me, the Andrea Doria was one beautiful ocean liner. She is captained by 58-year-old Piero Calamai, one of the most experienced captains of the Italian line. First a World War II officer, then got all the way up to commander during the war. He became well known and well respected, even though he was well known for not being very keen in interest with technology. He is the captain of this voyage, and he will be the Andrea Doria's final captain. The Doria may not be the fastest ship, nor the largest, but she is called the most beautiful. However, this beautiful ship will meet an untimely and horrifying fate. For the first several days of the voyages, everything ran smoothly. The Andrea Doria sailed along at her top speed, and everything, and all the passengers were having a great time, eating, socializing with other passengers, swimming, or in the case of one 9-year-old passenger, trying to get up to the upper classes, always failing at the attempt. However, one of the passengers wasn't so fond of the sailing. Liliana Dooner was taking her daughter along to meet her husband in America. However, one night she had a premonition that the Andrea Doria was sinking. At first, she just thought it was just a dream, but the next night she had another dream of the Andrea Doria's demise. At that point, she was very, very nervous, and on one night, everything came true for Liliana Dooner. One passenger said that while she was playing the piano on the ship moved very movable, but she enjoyed the company of fellow passengers and one on such a beautiful ocean liner. But as I said before, The Andrea Doria will meet an untimely demise. Wednesday, July 25th. The Swedish ocean liner Stockholm departs New York to Ebden, Sweden. This is her 103rd eastward voyage to Europe. She is under command of Captain Nordenson, an American born in Massachusetts of Swedish parents. Stockholm is part of the Swedish-American line, built only in 1948. She is the smallest ship on the North Atlantic route. However, she is the biggest ship built by Sweden. With a passenger count of 534 and a crew count of 208, Stockholm was fully booked. On this voyage, she was taking her usual route across New York to Ebden, Sweden. She is those aboard her are unaware that they're going to meet a night of pure terror as the Stockholm heads eastward towards the westbound Andrea Doria. Andrea Doria is sailing at her top speed of 23 knots, while Stockholm is sailing under a steady 18 knots. Third Officer Carstens of the Stockholm reports clear weather as he passes Nantucket Lightship. However, on the Andrea Doria, it's a different story. As day turns to night, the Andrea Doria has been in fog for several hours. Captain Calamai becomes a bit nervous. So nervous, he cancels his dinner with the passengers and decides to stay on board the Andrea Doria. But he's not too concerned about the ship. However, he does slow down her speed from 23 knots to 21.8 knots. The Stockholm sails on, not knowing of the Italian liner in front of her, she is only half the size of the Andrea Doria. Captain Nordenson turns in for the night, and Third Officer Carstens assumes command. However, Nordenson does tell Carstens, "Wake me up when there's fog." Later on, Johansson would say that he didn't see fog for quite a while. 10:40 p.m. The Andrea Doria appears on the Stockholm's radar. Third Officer Carstens plots her position from the Stockholm. Carstens plot the Andrea Doria as 17 miles to his north. Soon, Captain Calamai spots a ship on his radar. This is the Stockholm. Captain Calamai plots the Stockholm as 12 miles away and to his north. Aboard Stockholm, Carstens once again checks his radar. He plots the Doria as 6 miles away and still safely to his north. Despite his importance of not liking technology, Captain Calamai remains watchful, even though he is sure he and the Stockholm are a safe distance away. He plans to pass Stockholm port to port, while Stockholm plans to do starboard to starboard. However, this would end up being terribly wrong. Both ships are heading towards each other. However, the officers on the Doria are a bit concerned. The Stockholm has not blown her foghorn, and since there was no radio at that time, they could only rely on their instincts, not radio. So, Captain Calamai and Carstens aboard the Stockholm wait. 11:09 p.m. July 25th, 1956. Carstens aboard the Stockholm orders the Stockholm a turn to the south to widen the port-to-port passing of the Andrea Doria. He is then called away to answer the phone. When he returns moments later, he is horrified at what he sees. Both ships are heading towards disaster. It is 11:10 p.m. July 25th, 1956. Suddenly, the Stockholm, Carstens on board the Stockholm spots the Andrea Doria. They are heading right towards each other. Carstens orders a hard starboard and reverse the engines, attempting to stop the Stockholm. Aboard the Andrea Doria, Captain Calamai orders a turn to port, in hopes of outrunning Stockholm. Both ships are heading at a speed of combined speed of 40 knots. As both ships, even with last-minute decisions, the fate of both ships has been sealed. Crew members on both ships watch in horror as helplessly the two ships head right towards each other. Then everything goes haywire. At 11:10 p.m., Stockholm's ice design prow slices into the side of the Andrea Doria, right below the bridge. The Stockholm slices into 16 feet into the side of the Doria, killing passengers instantly, mostly on sea deck. Linda Morgan is traveling with her stepfather, mother, and half-sister. Her half-sister was thrown into the ocean and killed immediately. Her mother was trapped in the wreckage for hours. She ended up dying on the anniversary of the Andrea Doria's demise. Her stepfather died of horrible injuries just minutes after the collision. She herself would find herself on the Stockholm's bow, being thrown from the force of the impact of the collision onto the bow of the Stockholm. She would be reunited with her father, who happened to be a reporter on the disaster in New York. He did not know that he did not say that his daughter was of the missing, but he did say that she did say when it was finally announced that Linda Morgan was alive. On the Stockholm, so many of the passengers feel a jolt, but nothing else. However, in the front part of the ship, it's a different story. One passenger is learning Norwegian along with a crew member. However, when the collision happens, the walls cave in and the lights went out. The crew member was killed along with 4 others in the Stockholm. 5 were killed in the Stockholm, and 46 were killed on the Andrea Doria. A total of 51 deaths. Captain Calamai has no chance to figure out what has happened. The Doria is listing a 15 degrees port to starboard, rendering many of the lifeboats useless. However, some of the lifeboats are still used. However, Captain Calamai knows he is in grave danger. He even thinks of trying to beach the ship. However, the Andrea Doria is doomed. He sends out an SOS. The SOS is as followed. SOS. This is Andrea Doria. SOS here at 03:20 hours GMT. Latitude 40.30 north, 69:53 west. We need immediate assistance. The SOS station in the Coast Guard New York finds the message and rays it out to the other ships, and many other ships respond to the SOS of the Andrea Doria. The freighter Cape Ann is the first to arrive on the scene. The USS Edward H. Allen also arrives on the scene of the disaster. The Williams H. Thomas also arrives on the scene. The Coast Guard gunner Laguerre also arrives on the scene. Once Captain Norton knows that the Stockholm will survive, Stockholm herself joins the rescue operation. She rescues several survivors from the Andrea Doria. But the main hero of it all was the SS Ile-de-France. A French ocean liner, the captain of the Ile-de-France hears the SOS message. He is worried about that he might delay his passengers and might ruin the reputation of the French line. But he decides that even though he is 40 miles away from the Andrea Doria and only passed the Doria 2 hours ago, he turns his huge liner around. The Ile-de-France heads straight for the Andrea Doria. The captain of the Italien France orders all lights to be on, and as the fog lifts, the passengers on the Doria see a magnificent sight, with the letters of Ile-de-France across the side of the Ile-de-France. The rescue ships quickly get to work in getting the survivors off the ship. The U.S. Navy's John E. Kelly also arrives on the scene, and the Robert E. Hopkins also arrives. The rescue operation is in full swing. Some of the lifeboats are used to carry passengers from the Andrea Doria to the awaiting rescue ships, including the Stockholm herself. However, the Ile-de-France will play the largest role in the rescue operation. As you can see the hole that the Stockholm made into the side of the Doria, about 2/3 away from her stern. The Doria is slowly listing to starboard and is sinking. 3 hours of the collision, Captain Calamai wants to go down with the ship. He tells his third officer, "If you go back to Janor, please tell my family I did what I have to do." The Ile-de-France undoubtedly plays the largest role in the rescue. In all, she carries 753 of the Andrea Doria survivors, as well as the rescue ships. Liliana Duner, who had a premonition of the Doria sinking, is rescued by the freighter along with her daughter, Cape Ann. The Andrea Doria is now sinking quickly. The last to get off the ship are the ship's crew members. Captain Calamai is one of them. He is forced by the other officers and crew members to leave the ship. Now, the Andrea Doria is abandoned. Her sinking finally starts at 9:45 a.m. on July 26, 1956. The passengers and crew of the Doria watch in sadness as the mighty Andrea Doria lists and lists to starboard. Soon, she is lying completely on her side. The final minutes of the sinking were caught on video by several news reporters that arrived on the scene. It is a terrible sight. Captain Calamai bears to witness his mighty ship sink beneath the waves. The 3.5-year-old ship is dead. As she finally takes her final plunge, the lifeboats that weren't used on the starboard side break away and float in a row. The Doria sinks beneath the waves. Her beautiful interiors destroyed. The rescue ships watch in sadness as the Andrea Doria sinks beneath the waves. She finally sinks beneath the waves at 10:09 a.m. on July 26, 1956, 11 hours after the collision with Stockholm. 51 people perished in the collision, but 1,660 survived. It is the largest peacetime rescue ever to be made at sea. An inquiry was hired into the investigation. Initially, the Italian liner was found blame, but soon, Third Officer Carstens of the Stockholm was put officially to blame for the collision and the deaths of 51 people, 46 on the Doria, 5 on the Stockholm. The Ile-de-France later becomes sunk in the movie The Last Voyage as the SS Clarendon, the true hero of the SS Andrea Doria disaster. Captain Calamai retires and never sails again. He says to a comrade, "Before I used to love the sea, now I hate it." He dies 16 years after the sinking of the Doria. His last words to his daughter, "Are they all right? Are the passengers saved?" And he dies. Stockholm still sails today under the name MV Astoria. Her season will begin again in autumn of 2019. So hopefully you'll board a ship that caused another ship to sink. The Doria now lies on her side, destroyed as the ship she was once called Beautiful. Her younger sister, Cristoforo Colombo, will be scrapped in 1982. The survivors that are still alive today never forget about the sinking of the Andrea Doria and the lives that were lost. Even one 9-year-old boy who nearly died during the collision when a whole bunch of passengers fell in the dining room along with a projector. He says, "I'm glad to be alive, and a good thing I was able to save my sister." a nice way for a 9-year-old boy to survive a horrifying disaster. Thank you for watching this video about the SS Andrea Doria disaster. Hopefully, by watching this video, you'll remember the Andrea Doria, and now you'll be able to sail on Stockholm, now named Astoria. Thank you very much for enjoying this video. I am Mike Benitez, signing out on the story of the sinking of the SS Andrea Doria. Please pay respect to those who died. This is Mike Benitez signing out. Goodbye.